The Serpent of Rot is a worshipper of the sealed god and skilled in the powers of rot and corruption, primarily using Faith and Arcane with physical damage. In this video, we are going to walk through all of the locations along the path of the Serpent of Rot, collecting all weapons, spells, and armor sets along the way. The first place we're going to head to is the Waypoint Ruins in Caelid, not far from the starting location of the Serpent of Rot. If you followed my starter guide, you will have half the map open and lots of golden seeds, sacred tears, and memory stones before even coming here, but you could easily just pop over here before doing all that if you wanted to. So basically you just need to run into the ruins and look for the basement opening that all ruins in Elden Ring have, and just try to avoid all the pest dudes throwing pest threads at you because those can definitely hurt. Then just open the door in the back, and there are two chests. The one on the left has the Shimmering Rune of Rot, which is what we are after, and the other one we don't really need, but you can grab it anyway, is the Verdigris Greaves. So if we pop the Shimmering Rune, we get some good starter spells: Pest Threads, Chitinous Shell, which is a buff incant, Bladed Orb, Rotten Mist, and Miranda Bloom. Next we are heading to the Swamp of Aeonia to grab our unique damage increasing item, the Scorpion Kite Shield, which is in a ruin in the northwestern quadrant of the swamp. Pretty easy to get to, just navigate to the same place I have marked on my map and you'll see the ruin. It's going to be in this little tiny room on this section of the ruin, and you see an item on the window. That's not actually it. I'm going to grab it here. It's a golden rune, but if you turn around, there's what we really want on the floor there. Scorpion Kite Shield. We got it. Now for some fun stuff. Time to play in the rot. We're heading to the abandoned cave in Caelid, which is that one literally filled with rot. If you haven't already, use a warding remnant to craft the Curative Horn Charm, which is a talisman that makes you immune to rot. You're going to need it for the Lake of Rot later anyway, so might as well craft it now, otherwise you might have a bad time in this cave. So just follow the path all the way to the end where the boss arena is. We're mainly after our tier 2 catalyst, which we get from defeating the boss. And that boss is a Cleanrot Knight Spear. Now I think in the base game there's 2 Cleanrot Knights. For whatever reason you only fight one of them in Convergence. He's a little tough, especially if you're kind of under-leveled for the area still. He took me a little while, but not too bad. And once you get him, you will get your reward. So defeating the Cleanrot Knight gets you a Warding Remnant and the Seal of Rot, which is our tier 2 catalyst. This is the one you're going to want to level up all the way. It's going to do more damage than the base catalyst you're given. And yeah, we're done with the abandoned cave at this point. I say we're done with the cave, but there is one more thing. There's a portal right in the boss room. You will want to take this because it's going to transport you to the Haligtree of all places. Now, we're not going to do the Haligtree yet in the walkthrough, but it is good just to grab the Grace here. It skips the whole upper part of the Haligtree that you don't have to deal with. Starts you in the town portion, so just grab the Grace and then we'll skedaddle out of here. Now that we have our tier 2 catalyst, we are ready to take on Commander O'Neill, who is in the same location as the base game. Pretty much same fight too. He does drop the unalloyed gold needle still, which is what we're after, to progress Gowry's quest and get our next set of spells. So once we have the unalloyed gold needle, we just need to head to Gowry's shack, which is in the same location as Vanilla Elden Ring, and start talking to him to initiate his quest. You'll eventually hand over the gold needle, and there's a handy spirit spring nearby to take you right up to the church where Millicent is, then talk to her, and then return to Gowry again, who will then hand over the glowing Rune of Rot and give you the gold needle back if you want to continue Millicent's quest, but it's not required to do that for anything else for this class. So when we pop the glowing Rune of Rot, we start getting into the more powerful incants such as Poison Dart, Pest Tenacity, a melee buff, Carrion Swarm, and Convert Corruption. Next up, we're after the Rotten Crystal Spear, which is found in Celia's Hideaway. This is the cave that is behind a hidden wall in Upper Caelid. This is a base game weapon and honestly nothing too exciting, but it is part of the class, so we're just going to cruise through the cave here to fight the boss at the end for the reward. The boss is the same as vanilla, the Rotten Crystalline Trio, which honestly isn't that bad of a fight. I found that using the Ash of War on the Antspur Rapier could break their poison 3 or so hits, so I just kept doing that until they were all dead, and then voila, we got our Rotten Crystal Spear. Okay, yet another cave. This time we are in the Seathwater Cave in Mount Gelmir. This is a poison cave, and the goal here is to fight the boss at the end to get our next set of spells. Now this Cleanrot of Rot may not seem that bad, but if he hits you with pest threads and you haven't been leveling your HP, he may just one-shot you, so be careful. But once you take him out, you get the Shimmering Rune of Rot. This time you get Pest Darts, which is an awesome incant, Rotten Burst, and Blighted Contagion. And yet again, in this cave we have a portal, and this time it takes us to the Lake of Rot, which is good, because there's a lot we need to do here, but we're not going to do it yet. So grab the Grace, and we'll move on to the next stop and come back here later. Alright, so next we need to make a pit stop at Volcano Manor, because we need to initiate Tanith's quest in order to get our next class weapon, the Serpentbone Blade. This means doing a couple invasions, all the same stuff as vanilla Elden Ring, the first one in Limgrave against Isvan. Next we go back to Volcano Manor to talk to Tanith and grab the letter for our next hit, which is Riley the Idol in Altus Plateau. This is the fight we care about because the reward for this one is the Serpentbone Blade. Except you don't actually get the blade as soon as you kill him. You have to go back to Volcano Manor and talk to Tanith again to get the reward.
Now, perhaps the time has come to...
Next up, we need to make our way through the Shaded Castle in search of the Cleanrot Set. The layout is pretty much the same as vanilla Elden Ring, so if you know your way around, just follow the normal path. Obviously explore around if you want to loot items, just don't forget about this ladder here. I always run by it, but you do need to go up this to progress the area. Jump across all the rooftops and then you'll be at the next Grace. Go up the next ladder and into this little room here with tons of enemies. It might be easiest to take them all out because if you don't, they can gang up on you. Once you kill all the enemies, go up this next ladder in the room and grab the item from the body on the chair, and there you have it, the Cleanrot Set. This set has a good boost to stats and physical damage, so I recommend putting this on over your starter gear. So in order to get our next melee weapon, we need to fight Radahn, and of course, the precursor to Radahn is Dak, the Starcaller Lord, so we are going to need to get through him first. Now Dak isn't too bad of a fight, he uses the Ruin's Greatsword, so you mainly just need to watch out for his heavy slams and gravity rocks he can shoot from the ground, but he can be rotted and poisoned, so make sure to use that to your advantage. I used a little bit of everything on him in this fight, from Deathblight, to Poison, to Rot, to Swarm of Flies. Just be careful, it can be kinda hard to see if you have Poison and Rot mists all over the place. With all the procs and some melee damage mixed in, you should be able to get through him just fine. Now, Radahn, on the other hand, Radahn can still give me a bit of trouble, so make sure you're leveled up enough, especially with HP, so you don't get one-shot. You can easily farm for runes in Convergence, especially because you can refight bosses for runes, such as Dak, who we just fought. The good news about Radahn is he can be rotted very easily, so definitely use that to your advantage. And of course, you have the summons scattered all across the battlefield that you can use as well. Mix in a little melee when you can, and try to avoid his huge gravity slams, as those can one-shot and or pull you into him, where he can one-shot you or do massive damage to you. You could even potentially cheese him and just rot him and then run away on your horse, which I think is how I actually killed Radahn on my very first playthrough of Elden Ring. It was my first Souls game, and Radahn was my first major wall in the game, and I had to do whatever I could to get past him, so I found the Dragon Breath incant that does rot, and that was my savior for this fight back in the day. Once he's dead, you'll get all these goodies as rewards, but the main thing we care about is this item right here, which is the Scarlet Triscythe, which is an absolutely awesome weapon, new to the Convergence mod. It is a scythe moveset that does rot and bleed, and is a huge upgrade from the rapier we've been using, so I recommend getting the stats to wield this because it is very fun to use. Next up, we have the Lake of Rot, which holds a good amount of the items we were after for this class, so we do need to make our way through the Lake of Rot puzzle to open the Grand Cloister, since we will need to kill the Remembrance boss here in order to get his weapon. Now, I did already walk through how to do this puzzle in my Underworld Mage video, so I'll link that in the description below if you want to see it in more detail, as I'll just be going through it quickly here. The first item we're going to get is the Scorpion Stinger, which is behind this Cleanrot Knight at the top of these stairs. Feel free to take him out or just grab the weapon and move on. Next, walk across this platform we enabled by stepping on the button earlier, grab the golden seed if you want, and light the fire behind this rotten duelist. You can kill him if you want, but he is quite tanky, so you can just light the fire and move on if need be. Next, we'll head back to the starting grace, run up the main set of stairs again, and just stay straight to walk across the other platform we enabled earlier, and then hang a right to light this fire. Now, if you make your way down from here and run across to this pathway here, and all the way in the back will be the last fire to light. Should be easy enough except for these pest thread dudes, so be careful because they can definitely one-shot you. I try to take them out carefully, but I have died here so many times I've lost count, so be careful. Now, if you jump down from here and make your way through the rot pretty much to where the Grand Cloister entrance is, you'll see a little pathway up here that leads to a ladder. Go up that and open the chest to get our next weapon, the Blade of Scarlet Bloom, a curved sword that is new to the mod. Now, if we go back to the start of the area again, we are ready to fight the Dragonkin Soldier, which is right around the corner to the right here. We need to kill him in order to light the last fire. He's not too bad of a boss, same as base game pretty much. He can hit hard, so just avoid his moves as best you can. I was mainly using melee here, but you can mix in some spells, especially if you don't want to fight too close to him. Once he goes down, you will get some rewards that don't relate to this class, but the main thing we're here for is to light the last fire. This will open up the Grand Cloister, so if we go back to where we were when we got the Blade of Scarlet Bloom, you'll notice this big gate is now open. There's also a grace here that we probably should have grabbed before, but you can grab it now just so you can easily fast travel back to this point if you need to. Now we just head into the Grand Cloister, same path pretty much as vanilla Elden Ring, just more annoying enemies, so be careful here, especially with the one-shotting pest thread dudes. Grab the Grace right here, and we are now right outside the boss arena for the Scion of the Sealed God, a very cool Remembrance boss new to the mod, but we're going to fight him later because he's pretty strong. Right now, we're going to head over here to this chest to grab the Radiant Rune of Rot, which contains our last set of spells for this class. So we get Rot Spray, Pest Thread Spears, which will be one of our go-to spells later on, Aspect of the Scorpion, which is a melee focus buff, and Blessing of the Sealed God, which is an incantation focus buff. Okay, so now we are in the Consecrated Snowfield because, believe it or not, we have some weapons we need to get here. The first one being the Rotten Greataxe we get from killing the Duelist in the northern part of the area. He's pretty easy to take down. Pest Darts does wonders on him, but, you know, do what you need to do to kill him, and then collect your reward. Next we have the Rotten Battle Hammer we get from killing another Duelist, this time on the southern part of the snowfield, near all of the coffins. Same idea, just take him out and then collect your reward. We are now officially in the last section we need to get through, the Haligtree, and we do need to get through all of this because yes, we need to fight Malenia at the end. So starting at the Grace that we picked up earlier, the first order of business is getting Millicent Set, which is a little tricky to find. It's near the last Grace right before the Loretta fight, and there's a little window you can jump through onto a branch to get there. Grab this Grace as a nice safety net. So here's the window I was talking about earlier. Just jump out onto this branch and then do a big jump right over here. And right in front of us is going to be the Millicent Set. Of course there's a Pest Thread dude trying to kill you, so just be careful. So you will have had to kill Loretta to get this next item, which is the Rotten Crystal Sword, which is going to be behind this Crystallian trio here. I just kind of did a suicide mission to get it. I didn't mess with these Crystallians because it's kind of pointless. You'll probably take one death trying to open the chest like I did here, and then you'll just need to come back and grab it once the chest is open. Then we're out of here. Our next big challenge is fighting the Scion of the Sealed God, where we got the grace before after going through the Lake of Rot earlier. And I'm not going to lie, this guy is tough. He is a tier 3 boss, so he's not to be taken lightly, so make sure to be properly leveled up for this. We do have all our spells and weapons outside of Remembrance boss weapons, so choose what you like best to take him on. I found Pest Darts to work the best because they do decent damage and are quick to get off in case I need to dodge quickly to get out of the way, because he does spam quite a few attacks, especially in Phase 1. I switched between darts and Pest Thread Spears because the spears do a lot of damage. You just need to find the time to get it off because it does take a couple seconds to cast. Phase 2 is more of the same, switch between darts and spears as you see fit. I don't find this phase to be as difficult. He's a little easier to dodge, he doesn't spam as many attacks. His attacks will do more damage to you, but as long as you figure out the patterns and can dodge, not terrible. You see I do get a stun here as well, so if you can get there in time for the riposte, make sure to do it. I missed it there, obviously, but overall, pretty cool fight. Just take some practice getting used to his moves, and we will get rewarded at the end. So once he's dead, you get a few goodies, including a third keystone of the forge if you haven't already gotten one, but the main thing we're after here is his remembrance, so we can go turn it in with Enya at the round table hold to get his remembrance weapon. The Great Staff of Decay is a colossal weapon, so if you've been pumping strength, you can wield this one. It does do decent rot buildup and has a unique Ash of War as well. Now on to our final battle for this class with the one and only Malenia. Ah, Malenia, always such a treat to fight her. Took me several attempts to kill her, as it always does when I fight her, but I found the easiest and cheesiest method is to just keep your distance from her and charge the Pest Thread Spears. With a fully upgraded Catalyst, all the physical damage enhancing talismans, and the Kite Shield, which adds 10% physical damage, I was hitting her for a little over 2k damage per hit. The main thing to watch out for is Waterfowl, but from a distance is pretty easy to dodge if you just run away from the first 2 attacks and then roll through the 3rd attack like I do here. She does have a new attack in Convergence, which is kind of like a mini Waterfowl dance, but same thing, if you just keep your distance, she won't hit you with it. All in all, kind of a boring way to fight her. It does take a little while, but it is effective, especially with what we're given with this class, and especially because she is resistant to rot. You could spam Swarm of Flies because she's weak to bleed, but I found it to be inconsistent and stuck with the Pest Thread Spears. Phase 2 is more of the same. Try to keep your distance as much as possible and get off the spears whenever you can. She is more aggressive in this phase, so patience is key, but once she gives you openings for the spears, such as when she does her Flower Bloom, take advantage and blast her with it.
The mark of a true lord.
Once she is defeated, we do get all the goodies you see here, and our final step is to go back to the round table to turn in her remembrance. Now, unfortunately, her remembrance weapon is still the same, the Hand of Malenia. Not a bad weapon, but just kinda meh, especially because we already know about it from vanilla. However, her armor set is decent because you do get boosts to Faith and Arcane, reduced weapon stamina cost, and increased physical damage for a more melee-focused playstyle. So at this point, we have completed the walkthrough, we have collected everything along the path of the Servant of Rot, so hope you found this video helpful. Be sure to give it a like if you made it this far, leave a comment down below, and subscribe because I have a whole lot of classes still to get to. See you in the next one.